You, your attention, subdivided by the test card called Dust Rises from Highways. You, whose generally pretty leaden programming of a sudden cuts clear of itself in an odd gust. You, a mostly empty sept, whose channels may be changed, though they weigh a distant ton. Hell is now love. Given the right woods, gain knob twisting on its own time between thumb and index, and pool and ash pit, carved at distances about you, are that thing within a radius, void and fluttering, twined a rope around itself by holding still inside the push my knocked out wind made when space leaned in, an odor, a chime of rivers of wires, and sun, a hole sunk in the 3D scenery's torqued and bell-clear blacklight, some ways back, sudden flash, and hungered from the depths of a blood clot, still teething what the mouth rounds up on a playground, drift into wordy years of not leaving the office. As in the wide going down of day into serrated dew, grounds gnaw the dazzling walls, I fly, my dust will be what I am, in dark grass, behind festival fencing, whence a head's pestered with identities, and mind's bad aim, it grieves the heavens to see it only breathe, to refute the air, trim blocks of no future ago, where the doom metal riff ends in circular sundown, the rhythm thinning as it nears the shore. And one is waved on, absolved from all in-flight entertainment, and so sat screaming in quiet, wherein a name is only the changes it's subject to but cannot aim at, as if living weren't a fact, but rather a bearing so rare in brick that nothing could distract it. Or out here on the other side of either way, as I'm telos lapped by a DDoS attack, wherein the line is busy every countless night I've tried to write its names down for the first time. In crystal thin liquid, the chamber square darkens, then an azure cringe of centered death, or whatever gets you in the doorframe, blanking thinkfully to a video of 8 hours of rain, limning into why is it we're seated at such day jobs, square pushing up against a basis in nature, and the pressing question of, so do you just get your guesswork wherever? The parish patterns murmur, as our time here is tap water drawn through glass so thick it hurts my eyes to even think about it, astride environs of ardor and nerve, whose gullies lousy with woodland beasts. This is a fact. Woodland beasts who aerate dirt by burying seed, forgetting where, and yielding trees, through cordless and waste skies, the big dream flinching in its unctuous mayhem, up and down and up the drain. But no one knows what happens when a song ends, somewhere in the mileage between sine wave and scale, a drone without first or last grain accrues in you and isn't a visitor, less than its senses, its lust and expense. So wrote it as might keep the derelict, abandon all hope who enter here. Let day and night go, leave day and night alone. Enough is too much, and when to rest from lasting is the point. Or else, what do you expect to be left of us but laminated ashes and compound fracture concentrate and piles of spent adhesive strata pried from the backside of habitus braced by its hated adjectives for the big reveal? its green accountant visor peppered with clues, out of which with pastels I encroach, thinking overmuch, within arm's reach of sustenance, runs at the heart, chewed shadow in another ether, its Stevensy noonbreak. My goodness, how the dust settles without stinginess on iced-over winter lawn grass crashing underfoot to pull the clouds down, and icons knocked around an exact room of you. And sure, hell might be loved now, but what isn't? One worth turns into another as I gathered on returning from what followed us into its clingy entropy, that there are hours that night in this hemisphere devotes solely to the Pacific Ocean, and fell into a prayer of you are hovering 10 feet above the surface of it. You look down, and through unchanging states fell. O cinerescence, O cirrus on tin, and not a word of sleep, as the brevity of life loomed madly in the corridor of days, cast gladly out, not even almost what it is, as if some manner of draft flesh with its face on backwards, past jigsaw aspects, feeling which ends which, in that sap held a child tired of feeding, who could not know if acts were natural, running unassuaged through skeletized fields, their redundant bumper crops blinking through the allergens, the whole mess reducible to 2 cassettes, whether corrosion or ornament, there's no telling. And if another being becomes me in its hearsay, passing through a boondock silo's worth of psyche, from practice back to habit, back to accident, where the firing squad has nothing to aim at but the genitals hanging by a thread from an off-screen prop body in the Empyreanic, fractal fish-eyed, Busby Berkeley choreography surrounding you with powder and smoking bowls of gemstones. They're smoking bowls of precious metals and cutting up the pieces, looking busy in a travesty of foregroundless contour and backgroundless relief. The tale pertains mostly to the time it takes to tell it, with midnight to the north of her and midnight to the south of her. Hot autumn today, clever in its waves that don't crash, the scoreless innings that brush by. Where were the barriers that worried me, dowsing adjacencies and framed things? Nothing rains down, as a web between the eyes of what's within is still accept us, or spelling just isn't in this alphabet of old stars outside screaming, accelerate! And have sung to the slowed ones for eons once. It was lace scrap oozed from the intercom. My thumb could double every consonant until the hurtful words don't work, by method going dead with error for more pneumatic upswing, and stations lining up outside the sky to listen like a mouth. If whatever is bound to be a little off, and nothing only comes to so much, however elsewhere the known goes. A swollen alloy ends in keening, oily at dawn, and drills to the kernel. Stray of repair as specialties totter on, and everything is fire. Follower. I sent that link to the aura melt, from ash to dust, of none are watching. None are watching in the dawn wind, dope-fleeced synapse under sloping through the limitless body heat of audience. It isn't every day. Enough hairs are trapped on the canvas bed, on the lens and scanner bed, to be rescued by wheat paste and graphite, devoted mess. There is, it would seem, in the dimensional scale of the world, a kind of delicate meeting place between imagination and knowledge, a point arrived at by enlarging small things and diminishing large ones, that is inherently artistic. A mediator pattern floats across the effort it took from your coveted other projects, bearing stress marks into composition and lust for the votive holder, before you can be clear about how others are for you, wrapped in evacuation entire afternoons. We know what isn't done can't be heard, looking through slides while the projector warms. Thank you.